Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, I think we've all known that Marvel's been in a very rough state the last few years. Obviously, every television series that they've premiered has been pretty much just one disastrous dumpster fire after another, as well as the movies as well. They have lost billions of dollars, if not tens of billions, and actually probably more on the closer to the line of hundreds of billions over the last few years on how much of a disastrous dumpster fire their Marvel products have been. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Black America out there, Falcon and the Winter Soldier kind of guy out there, yes, our dear sweet Falcon himself is coming back in the new Captain America Brave New World. And boys and girls, this is a movie that we have heard reports of them reshooting at least twice, almost the entire movie. And ladies and gentlemen, the test screenings have continually to be bad time and time again. And we have another round of test screenings. And ladies and gentlemen, if rumor be truth be told about this kind of stuff, which it seems to have been several times in the past, they are now going back for either more reshoots or more re-editing at literally like the final hour. This movie comes out February 14th, boys and girls. It comes out in just a few short months. And after the latest round of test screenings, it turns out this movie is just as much of a disastrous dumpster fire as we all expected it to be right from the beginning. It is guaranteed to be nothing more than a box office flop for Disney Marvel. And guess what? They did it to themselves, and it's exactly what they deserve. So as you can see over here from our dear sweet friends at fandompulse.substack. Now, they were the first ones to report on this. Several people have reported on this in the past because guess what? A lot of the scoopers are out there letting all this information shown out into the world, but here we are. Captain America Brave New World reportedly being changed again after another round of negative test screenings. And color us shocked there, ladies and gentlemen. Just like it never worked out long-term in the comics to make Sam Wilson the new Captain America, it doesn't work in the movies either. I know, strange concept. History doesn't just repeat itself, it also rhymes. And it looks like trying to make Sam Wilson Captain America is going to not work out for them in this case either. So, ladies and gentlemen, this also leads credence to the fact that Marvel knows something it's doing is broken and busted, and they're continuing trying to fix it, but to no avail. Why? Because the concept of this movie right from the very beginning was going to be a disaster. No one believes Sam Wilson as Captain America. Everybody knows Steve Rogers is the proper Captain America, and whether you have to recast him or whatever you have to do, Steve Rogers has to be and always will be Captain America. Sam Wilson will always be an incredible character and an incredible superhero out there as Falcon, but he is not going to be a Captain America, and this is just proving it true time and time again. So we're going to check out this article from fandompulse.tv or fandompulse.substack.com. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us in the comment section down below. Did you ever expect anything good to actually come from this movie in any way, shape, or form? Do you believe this was a bad premise from the get-go? Or did you hope that after all of these reshoots, after all these test screenings, and everything else, they might have actually figured out a way to save this movie? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. So from fandompulse.substack.com and our dear sweet John F. Trent. Marvel Studios is allegedly making more changes to Captain America Brave New World after it received a third round of negative test screenings, boys and girls. And obviously Disney Marvel was hoping that third time would be the charm. And guess what? It didn't pan out. According to Marvel Updates on X, scooper Daniel Richmond alleges that Marvel Studios is making changes to the film following another negative test screening. It's unclear what those changes will entail and whether or not they will be able to make them in a post via editing or have to have another round of reshoots. And considering how bad the actors involved with this project have been about announcing the reshoots, about talking about their Instagram, about how they've gone back. I mean, Carlos Esposito, I think, has been back like 3 times for some different reshoots and some more extended stuff out there. Like, we're going to find out eventually if they actually end up doing reshoots or if this is just editing they're trying to do with the footage they've already got. I mean, think about this, boys and girls. Whether they do editing or reshoots, we already know this thing was started out with like a $350 million budget. And at the end of the day, we already know they've reshot the entire movie over the last summer. There is no way in hell this movie has cost them less than at least $500 million. This thing is already looking at a $500 million production budget. And there is no way in hell with this kind of negative press around the movie, plus all of the negative test screenings, there is no way this thing is going to get to the, at minimum, billion-dollar box office worldwide. We're looking at a worst case scenario than the Marvels, ladies and gentlemen, with how much money they have wasted on this movie. This is looking bad. This is looking so very bad. This rumor comes a little over a month after Jordan Rumi over at World of Real claimed that the 2 cuts of the film were tested and performed poorly. He reported 2 different cuts of the film test screened last week. The person who attended didn't seem to like the movie much at all. The reactions I've heard have not been very kind to this movie, which is being described as inessential and flat. And guess what? He's not the only one. This was seemingly corroborated by my scooper, My Time to Shine Hello, who wrote on X. Just heard back from like 3 people who went to see Captain America Brave New World test screenings, and woof, movie sounds awful. Over and over and over again, we have heard these exact same reports from multiple sectors, which guess what? When you hear it enough times, more than likely it's completely and totally true. This movie is going to be a disaster. This latest scoop from Richmond about a poor test screening comes in the wake of Marvel Studios performing a 3rd round of shooting for the film earlier this month. Yeah, I guess that entire summer they spent reshooting the entire movie didn't do them enough good. Marvel Update shared a photo of Anthony Mackie, who plays Sam Wilson, on the set in Los Angeles on November 11th. Boys and girls, November 11th. Literally just earlier this month. And they're still shooting footage. This thing, even from just a mere technical perspective, if they're still shooting stuff this last and are going to try to edit all the things in, imagine if they have to do any CGI work on any of this kind of stuff. This thing is going to look like a disastrous dumpster fire. This thing is going to look like an absolute mess just from the perspective stand, just from a technical perspective alone. Not to mention the fact that everybody says this movie is stupid and completely and totally unnecessary, which guess what? All the fans agree. Actor Timothy Blake Nelson, who reprised his role as the leader in the movie, had previously revealed that Marvel Studios had already shot the entire film twice. He told The Hollywood Reporter in September, "Well, we're done. I've shot it. I've actually shot it twice because I did it originally a year ago, and then we came back and redid a lot of it at the beginning of this summer," which is exactly what we said they were going to do. Well, it's just some light reshoots, and there were people out there like, well, reshoots always happen. You don't spend 3 months doing reshoots, which is exactly what they did over the summer. They have shot this movie twice and they are still doing more reshoots. There is no way this movie will be successful at the box office. On top of Nelson claiming he shot the film twice already, and then in new shoots from November, Rumi claimed that Marvel Studios removed director Julius Ona from the film. I'm hearing that Ona still had a stellar debut with 2019's Loose, has most likely been replaced as the director of Captain America Brave New World, doing this of the latest of the reshoots. One source informed him that Ona is not calling the shots. He shared another source told him Disney is very keen on what they see seen and the fans supporting. They recently shot additional photography with Ona present, and the movie is on track for its February release with great feedback on assets recently. Except now we find out all of those assets they thought they were having good positive feedback for, which honestly, it probably sounds like this leaker out here got a little bit of call from his Disney insider and went, hey, easy, killer, easy. Don't go too crazy. No, Ono's still there. We don't need the headlines with Disney fired another director. And oh, yes, you got those headlines anyway, because that's exactly what it comes down to. This is what they've done. Billions upon billions. They have wasted $500,000. They will end up losing on this thing over and over and over again. And this is just going to be nothing more than another disastrous dumpster fire. And guess what? This is exactly what Marvel deserves. We have at least probably another good year to maybe even 2 years of more of this DEI, this diversity, inclusion, and equity nonsense garbage Marvel productions that were made by a bunch of activist producers and now a director that has been completely fired, which was not the first time we've heard about something like this happen, which leads credence to it. We heard the exact same thing happen to Taika Waititi on that last Thor movie he did, that he got pulled off before the end of it and somebody else had to finish his job. Because guess what? Disney has been hiring based on identity politics, based on things, immutable characteristics that do not matter to the quality of the person, of their skill, of their merit, or their ability to actually produce a good quality movie. And guess what? Captain Black America is exactly what we get when you do things like this. And it's not working out, and it never has. It didn't work in the comics, and guess what? It's not working out there in Marvel live action. There's a reason why they always end up going back to Steve Rogers' Captain America, because that is Captain America. It's just like the stuff with Spider-Man. Miles Morales is not Spider-Man. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. It's the exact same thing with Captain America. Steve Rogers is Captain America, not Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson is a great Falcon on his own. He's a great character. You don't have to give him the passed down mantle from a white man in order to make him significant. He is a great character character on his own. And if you would have given him a proper movie, a lot of the fans would have loved it. You keep the budget around $100 million out there. You don't need to expect a whole lot about it. You bring in Bucky, you have a good time with all that kind of stuff. You don't do what you did with Falcon and Winter Soldier and make it nothing more than a bunch of race baiting nonsense. And now he's being held down as a black man and not being actually the successful superhero that everybody in the world should know his name to be. It's absolutely ridiculous to think that people would not recognize Sam Wilson as Falcon out there in the world when these heroes are known globally, worldwide. They've saved the world, the entire world, several times, and Sam Wilson has been there for all of that. And boys and girls, this is exactly what happens when Disney Marvel decides to dance with the devil of the DEI kind of nonsense. This is what you get for trying to push this kind of agenda, hiring people on diversity, inclusion, and equity requirements. And guess what? When they have no actual talent, when they have no actual merit, and you hire people on immutable characteristics, this is the kind of disastrous dumpster fire you get. And no matter how many times you edit it, no matter how many times you reshoot it, this was a bad premise from the beginning, and it will turn into another disastrous dumpster fire at the box office, probably on par with the Marvels, if not even worse, because you've already spent $500 million at least on this movie, and you will never recoup that at the box office. So guess what? Kevin Feige, you decide to either give lip service or bend the knee to the cult. You've sacrificed everything, and this will be another example of billions of dollars wasted. And Disney, you did it to yourself.